Harry, Meghan, and the rise and fall of the Folie à Deux. Not like they used to? Greetings and a gracious welcome to the World of Royal Staffs channel. In a recent article from The Spectator, Julie Burkhill discusses the upcoming Joker film, which has been subtitled Folie à Deux. Burkhill finds the phrase lovely and laments that it is not used enough these days. She goes on to explain that when psychiatrists use the term folie à deux, they are referring to a shared delusional disorder where symptoms of an irrational belief are transmitted from one individual to another. This can lead to violence and even murder, as seen in cases like Folie en famille and Folie à plusieurs. However, in popular culture, folie à deux refers to a pair of lovers who act in such a way that anyone outside their relationship sees them as insane. They share a world that is invisible to the rest of us, with their own language and rules. Burkhill argues that these relationships provide entertainment and reassurance for those who have chosen a more conventional path in life. Burkhill notes that Folie à Deux relationships can involve psychopaths like Brady and Hindley, Bonnie and Clyde, doomed lovers like Sid and Nancy, Kurt and Courtney, or imminently antagonistic narcissists such as Depp and Heard, Madonna and Penn. Regardless of the type, they share the sense of being the only two citizens of a state that is invisible to everyone else. The most powerful and pitiful portrayal of Folie à Deux, according to Burkhill, was in the 1994 film Heavenly Creatures, which was based on the true story of two New Zealand schoolgirls, Pauline Parker and Juliet Hulme. Their intense friendship eventually led to the murder of Parker's mother, who they saw as a hindrance to their relationship. Psychiatrist Reginald Medlicott wrote a study on the case called Paranoia of the Exalted Type in a setting of Folie à Deux. In his study, Medlicott argued that the girls' shared fantasy world only exacerbated their state of mind, leading to the murder. They acted as resonators, each increasing the pitch of the other's narcissism. Now, let's be honest, if there's one couple that embodies the term Folie à Deux, it's Harry and Meghan. From their decision to leave the royal family to their recent explosive interview with Oprah Winfrey, the couple has been operating in their own little world. They are two people who seem to believe they are above the rest of us, with their own language and rules. Their actions have been nothing short of insane, and yet they continue to provide endless entertainment for those who have chosen a more conventional path in life. At the time Heavenly Creatures was released, appropriately or inappropriately, I was about to embark on a folie à deux of my own when, as a married woman, I took up with a 25-year-old girl. The Guardian's film critic Peter Bradshaw wrote of my relationship with Charlotte Raven. The affair was very possibly partly inspired by seeing Heavenly Creatures. I like to think that it was, in some gloriously liberated sense, an inspired act of criticism itself, a passionate, flesh and blood, real-life response to Jackson's film. Sadly, they don't make folie à deux like they used to. A king once gave up a throne for an American divorcee and lived a life of globe-trotting shame. Now, a prince gives up thrice weekly visits to Knockers nightclub for an American divorcee and lives a life of globe-trotting blame. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex are surely the best current example of the fad, which fascinates us partly because of the comedy gold to be mined in the gaping chasm between what the people involved believe they look like, fearless fighters for freedom and justice, and how they appear to the rest of us, two spiteful toddlers attempting to be bosses of a sandpit. What's especially interesting about the folly of the Sussexes is that before they got together they both seemed perfectly okay. She would never win an Oscar and he would never be begged to leave his brain to science, but they were jogging along having a laugh and not bothering anyone. As Burkhill wrote in The Spectator last year, people always say, soulmates, like it's a good thing, but such relationships can easily turn toxic. Individually Harry and Meghan seemed happy enough, neither of them too bright, but both living lush lifestyles they didn't have to break sweat for. Then they met, and it was attempted murder of the reputation of the royal family. Seeing that the pair are so interested in mental health, I wonder if they understand that they may be, in my layman's opinion, suffering from both paranoia and persecution complex, and that it might be wise to seek professional help. Not only that, but being the cause of mental anguish to others through lies and hypocrisy is truly a mega-personality disorder psychotic problem of these two. Don't forget Meghan caused massive race problems in at least 2 countries and set back race relations by decades. She ripped apart 2 families. They have severely damaged charities and foundations forever because of their grifting. And men are even more afraid of getting conned by a gold digger. That's all for now. How do fads end? The partners in crime will eventually snap out of it, as was the case with Kanye West and Kim Kardashian. West finally saw the antics of his wife as unhinged and not fascinating. Interestingly, the person still afflicted with the shared psychosis can't believe that their partner has come to their right mind and will do all sorts of elaborate things to try and get them back. In West's case, it included making a video of himself burying alive an animated version of his wife's boyfriend. Sometimes, a fad can mature into something lovely, and the wayward pair can grow into a devoted couple. Keith Richards and Patty Hansen and, especially poignantly, John Lydon and Nora Forster, are great examples of this. Angelina Jolie was once a master of the fad, but her higher calling has left former playmates bemused. The fad has downgraded over the years, from Abelard and Heloise through Scott and Zelda to Taylor and Burton, and most recently to those pale copies of Jolie and her second husband Billy Bob Thornton, the actress Megan Fox and her rock star beau Machine Gun Kelly. The progression of their relationship is a salutary lesson to any young lovers tempted to take a walk on the wild side. Once prone to comparing their union to being in love with a forest fire and proudly wearing a whopping great Stephen Webster engagement ring set on 2 actual bands of thorns, Fox is now complaining that she wants to get to know Machine Gun for who he is, according to a friend. A clue may come in the fact that the preposterous pair have been together for 2 years, this being the modern milestone which has replaced the 7-year itch as the point where the previously lovable little ways of one's other half make one feel quite like cleaving them into halves. Most romances start to some extent as Folie à Deux, during which some Valentine red mist descends and we insist on seeing a profoundly unremarkable individual as a creature from a realm of wonder. However, the case of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex is a unique one, as they were perfectly fine before they got together. But ever since they tied the knot, they've become the best current example of the fad. It's easy for a folie à deux to become an amour fou, and that way, literally, lies madness. But like many things, a folie à deux is painful to live through but lots of fun to look back on. Who would really want a cavalcade of memories in which love always wrapped up warm and didn't swim after drinking? Not me. In the words of Robert Browning, borrowed by Dame Joan Collins for her splendid memoir Past Imperfect, "How sad and bad and mad it was, but then, how it was sweet." Thanks for tuning in to this video. I hope you enjoyed it and found it helpful. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one.